So I have some people who will be joining me shortly. I just want to given the time constraints of a 15-minute presentation, just want to set some expectations going forward. Town meeting's not being asked to vote for anything this evening, but it's my sincere hope that you'll all be excited about the update you received tonight and stay engaged with the finalization of this process. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought here. So the finalization of the process will be by the end of this calendar year, and then we'd also be looking for your support at future town meetings in the years to come. The townwide strategic plan is intended to cover FY25 through FY29, and I note here that FY25 starts on July 1st, 2024, per the town government calendar. I also want to point out that many of the actionable ideas that you'll hear about tonight or read in the draft documents online, if you'd like to look further, are already in motion, and some of these initiatives take years to come to fruition, some of which were led off by the chairs of the Finance Committee and the Select Board. Other actionable ideas that are new from community feedback will require additional vetting by departments, boards, and committees as we enter the next budget and capital planning cycle. I'll come back at the end of the presentation, but right now I'd like to introduce the Barry Dunn lead, Charlene Carangozzi, who will then bring up additional members of Envisioning Future Holliston to give you the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me all right? All righty. My name is Charlene Carangozzi. I'm representing the firm Barry Dunn tonight. And Barry Dunn is a national consulting and accounting firm, and we do this work nationwide, helping communities kind of go through their strategic planning process. So what we'll walk you through today is just kind of a quick overview of the agenda, and then we'll also walk you through some of the content of the plan. With that being said, here's a quick agenda. So as I mentioned, we'll do a review of the kind of project approach to talk, get you up to speed as far as what we've done so far, and also walk you through some of the reviews of the content of the actual plans, which includes the guiding principles, the mission, vision statements, and then you'll hear from Travis as far as next steps. I'm sure you probably have some questions as far as what's to come after this plan is implemented. But before that, I also wanted to bring over some of the members of the Envisioning Future Holliston Committee, just to kind of talk you all through the process, because I do want to note that this is not a plan that Barry Dunn developed and wrought, but this is more so a plan that we work with the community to really make sure that it was a community-informed process and getting your thoughts and feedback for your future. With that, Marlene and Barbara. And I'll just kind of walk you all through as well as they come up a few timeline items here, just to kind of get you up to speed as far as, what all the work that really was involved in developing the strategic plan. So phase one was kind of, getting to know the town and getting to request information from the town to get to know, the different landscapes as well. And then we also kind of look to develop this different community engagement methods, right? So looking and thinking about what's the best way to engage the community of Holliston, whether that's through interviews, focus groups. We really wanted to make sure that we heard as many voices as possible as part of this process. And then phase two, I won't steal too much of Marlene's thunder here, but this is really a phase to really get to, engage the community and get their thoughts and feedback as far as what they envision the town to be. And in this phase two, we held a few forums to get some more community input. Phase three was where we actually met with the Envisioning Future Holliston Committee to get to know, defining some of the directions of the strategic plan, which included the mission, vision statements, guiding principles, and some of the priorities. And again, those were really driven based on the input that we heard from the community during phase two. Phase four is what we're currently working towards. That includes just the plan finalization. So putting all the pieces together, the performance measures are still being reviewed by boards and community members at the town. And then from there, we're also looking to finalize the cost-benefit analysis. With that, Barbara.
I have to give my address. Barbara Peaty, 166 Union Street. The Envisioning Future Holliston Committee is comprised of 7 members, each representing the boards and committees that fall into that category, and 5 associate members. And we all discussed every area. We were not limited. For example, representing all the boards and committees that make up Health and Human Services is Peter Egan, and his alternate is Deb Farr. The general government is covered by Ben Sparrow and Pat Boyd. Representing education is Stacy Raffey, and she has a student ambassador working with her. And representing sustainability and environment is Rich Rosenberry. Economic development and housing is represented by Glenn Brown and his alternate, Victoria Sadlowska-Anshu. And the land use comes under my purview as a planning board member, and Jack LeWinter is my alternate. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is represented by Annie Singh, with Marlene Fine as an alternative. But the input to develop the various parts of the plan came from you, the community, which Marlene will explain over the next slide. And putting into the plans into action will be the responsibility of the town leadership. That's the town administrator and department boards and committees. Marlene.
Good evening. Marlene Fine, 43 Jackson Drive. As both Charlene and Barbara have said, our approach was to look specifically to the voices of the community because we wanted to ensure community ownership of this plan. So we used 6 strategies to ensure that we would hear your voices. First, Barry Dunn had interviews with diverse members of the community, including all the members of the committee. They conducted 26 interviews. They averaged 2 hours an interview. Second, we used the Social Pinpoint Community Engagement Platform, which is on the Holliston Town website, and I suspect a number of you have used it. That included an ideas wall and also an open-ended forum where people could share their personal visions of the future of the community. Now that platform has a draft proposal up, and you can respond to it on the platform. We've had nearly 6,000 people use the website, and 2,000 of those are unique users, people who have come at least once. Meeting in a box was our third strategy, and this was a tool for engaging small groups to talk about their vision of the future for Holliston. And the Social Pinpoint site included information about how to organize a meeting in a box, and materials were available at Town Hall if residents wanted to have them. Between Barry Dunn, the members of the committee, and residents of the community, we received information from 71 different meetings in a box. We then had, as our fourth strategy, open community forums. We ran 3 in May, and those were focused on mission, vision, and strategy. And then we had 3 in September, which were focused on the draft plan itself. We had 39 people attend those sessions. Our fifth strategy was to look at all of the existing town plans, including the master plan for the town of Holliston, the existing police plan, the fire department plan, the Holliston Public Schools, and all of the other plans that already exist here. And then finally, we looked at the data from previous surveys, and I know a number of you here participated either in the community-wide survey on Envisioning a Future Holliston, and also the survey that was done by the UMass Boston Gerontological Institute, which was done for seniors in the community. And using all that data, I think the committee believes that we are putting together a plan, which you're going to hear about now, which really reflects a community-wide vision for the future of this community.
Thank you, Marlene. So that being said, I plan on walking you all through some of the content of the plan. I do want to note the full version is up online. You can find it through the town website if you have more questions as well on that. So what you're looking on the screen are the guiding principles. Essentially, these are the core behaviors that, town residents should expect from the town government as far as how it's delivering its services and also how it's conducting its business overall. So one of the things that we developed here are, really items such as being transferable, being accountable, right? These are things that you all should expect from your town government. And they really also are things that you can see throughout the plan, right? So as we're looking at all the objectives, ideally, everything is going to be implemented with all these guiding principles in mind. So the mission and vision statements, these are what we came up with based on your input and your feedback, and also the development of the planning sessions with the committee. And your mission statement really is looking to describe Holliston's reason for being. And oftentimes, when you look at different organizations and different local government, the mission statement is inherently very similar because their legal mandates and your reason for being is typically pretty similar. Your vision statement rather actually looks to define your desired future state, right? Where should Holliston be 5 years from now? And it really, looks to identify certain items that came up during the surveys, right? Looking at some of the items that people would want Holliston to improve in, but we also may look at things that Holliston does really well right now that it should keep on doing pretty well. So that's kind of what you're seeing on the screen is both your mission and vision statement. So next we'll be transitioning to those strategic priorities. Again, in the interest of time, I won't read all of these. What I'll just look to do is give you a few examples per each priority, and also talk a little bit about how everything kind of fits into the strategic plan. So your goal statement, and I want to note as well that these are in alphabetical order, they're not in order of importance, but your goal statement is really looking to define the long-term, broad, and continuous statements. That defines how you're going to be making progress towards your vision within each of the strategic priorities. And they also help to determine where the town is heading, right? Whereas the objectives are also, they're looking to help determine what the town will focus on to be able to get to the goal statement. So that's kind of how everything fits in. And then the measures are how we know that we'll be successful. So as an example, frequently reviewing and evaluate town policies for fairness, equitability, so really making sure that all policies are going through the select board for review of fairness and equitability within the DEI strategic priority. And a measurable example would be, evaluating all policies for equity by June 30th of 2024, and also establishing an annual review just so that those documents can stay up to date. So the next strategic priority is related to education and enrichment. And as Travis mentioned here, a lot of these are actually in progress, a lot of these strategic objectives that you'll see here. But as an example for the objective is, continuing the commitment to find a long-term facility solution at the Holliston High School. So to do so and to know that we'll be successful, there is, the town is currently working with the MSBA, which is the Massachusetts School Building Authority. And what that is, it's really a public school building agency that helps to support design and constructions of public school facilities in the Commonwealth. So with that, how we'll know we'll be successful would be to continuing to pursue state funding through the MSBA to either look to replace or reconstruct the current high school. This is actually really relevant too because the MSBA did a walkthrough of the facility in October of this year, and the town should be getting an update on where, what the next steps are in November 2023. The next item is related to environmental sustainability. So the example here for the objective that I will read is developing an action plan to prepare the town for climate change impacts, and also serving as a guide to equitably achieve climate mitigation, resilience, and sustainable goals. So as we all know, a lot of the climate action plans that we do see in local government is really essentially a strategic framework to measuring, planning, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and also related climate impacts. And again, the select board would be involved in some of the development of the plan and perhaps setting up a committee to help out with that as well. The next one is pretty important, right? To be able to accomplish all of these strategic priorities, we need to make sure that the town has fiscal health and stability. So this one specifically relates to financial stability. And really, the goal here would be maintaining financial policy to guide policy making and decision making, and also essentially having long-term fiscal health. And policies are really written as a guide to make financial decisions and also set strategic intent for financial management, are really central to long-term approach to ensuring financial management. And as a measurable example, this would be to continue the biannual review of financial policies and ensure that they're up to date. The town actually currently reviews these policies every 2 years. The last one was in 2021, so they are due for review and update. Flourishing economy, so an example for this is implementing the Metro Area Planning Committee's Economic Development Vision and Service Model Plan. This is essentially to seek opportunities to attract and support all of businesses. So one of the things that we heard during the community forums is that people would like to see more vibrancy within the town of Holliston. So to do so, these are an example of an objective of how that could be achieved. And the Metro Area Planning Committee helps municipalities prepare for economic development and also perhaps could be doing some visioning process as well. A measurable example for this would be appointing a new economic development committee director/coordinator by June 2024. I believe this person is actually intended to start on Monday. So as I mentioned, a lot of these things are in progress. And really the EDC's role is to promote and encourage and facilitate the development of responsible and properly planned growth in commercial and industrial growth. The next one is robust infrastructure. So again, before we can even have a vibrant downtown and a lot of businesses, et cetera, we need to make sure that the town has the infrastructure to be able to support that. So an objective example here was investing in water and the sewer infrastructure to provide opportunities to scale affordable housing, as well as diverse commercial development. As a measurable example here, it's looking at the creation of a sewer district related to the downtown sewer project, which is actually in the design stages. There is that feasibility study project in place, and the town has engaged property owners in the impacted area so that, with questionnaires and forums with the consultant, and the town has also engaged MassDEP for capacity authorization of the existing wastewater treatment plan. And the next steps, once this is finalized, would be to establish a sewer commission, potentially around May 2024. So if you're at the next town meeting, you will likely hear some updates on what that project is going and how that's going right now. So the next one is related to thriving and engaged community. So one of the feedback that we heard is that people are wanting to, want the town to improve the way it's communicating to residents and ensuring that people are getting the right information that they need at the right time. So this is what this priority is related to. And an objective example here is improving communication and education to support residents in finding and accessing resources. A measurable example would be to exploring new communication tools. I know a lot of organizations that I work with, have a 311 system perhaps to be able to disseminate information to residents. But this would also include maybe having a town calendar and a third-party communication technology to support the increase of information flow to the community. And the goal here really would be to strengthen community engagement. As we heard, that was, one of the feedback that we heard as being something that the town can improve on. With that, I will have Travis speak a little bit about next steps and where we go from here.
Great, thank you. So I'm just going to wrap up here and talk about next steps for those who are interested in any of these topics. First, I'd like to thank Marlene, Barbara, and Charlene, the entire Envisioning Future Holliston Committee, and all the Holliston stakeholders that have engaged in this process to date. We've been at this since May of 2021, and there's been an incredible amount of information coming, but also a lot of work to be done from volunteers within the community, staff. I'd specifically like to thank as well Kathleen Buckley, the Assistant Town Administrator, who has been staffing and helping throughout this process. As you just heard from Charlene, a few examples to help conceptualize how these things might come to fruition in the next 5 years, but there is a comprehensive version online that sort of will complement this truncated presentation that you've seen tonight due to our time restraints. So I would encourage anybody who's interested in any of these topics, has questions, to go read that. We are currently soliciting feedback on the more in-depth actionable ideas from departments, boards, and committees right now before finalization of this plan, but that doesn't mean that anybody who is not on a board or committee cannot continue to be interested in this process. We have the email address up here that will get you to the entire Envisioning Future Holliston Committee, and you can also reach out to my office if you'd like, and we can put you in touch, or if there's any questions, we can answer those. So there may be some questions tonight. We're happy to take those, but really what I would encourage everybody who might be interested in this process and involved wants to get involved prior to its finalization, to reach out to Envisioning Future Holliston, to reach out through my office. Holliston has an exciting future, and this planning will ensure that we can efficiently deliver the desired services to the community for the next 5 years and beyond. Thank you very much.